Great when your showrunners like in the show, they're performing exactly what they want to. I think her and I have a very similar sense of humor. It's really just trusting my gut. That's literally all I have. It's just like, I don't know why, but like it has to cut here. We have to go to this joke. We have to do that. Getting to know her in the edit suite too, and like her timing, getting to know her by looking at her footage. It's just like, I think that was what was the greatest thing about the collaboration, is that we have the kind of same intuition.
Hi, I'm Gordon Burkell from Filmmaker U. At Filmmaker U, we create courses for film professionals to deepen and diversify your existing skill set. You can learn more at filmmakeru.com, or of course follow us on Instagram at filmmaker_u. Every week we interview a film professional to discuss their work, and this week I'm joined by editor Christine Armstrong, whose work includes Rutherford Falls, Sugar Daddy, and more recently, How to Die Alone for Hulu. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How did you get involved with How to Die Alone?
So I've been working with Onyx Collective on a show previously called Unprisoned. And I think I just kind of been looped in because it's a similar kind of like dramedy vibe. And I met with Natasha, and it was such a fun interview. Like her and I just really vibed a lot. And I think, and she hired me on the show. We were like singing in our interview. And she's like, okay, we're going to be good.
How that sort of explains some things, but like in terms of the playfulness of the edit, because that was one thing, like I think the trailers for the show did it a disservice, because when I watched it, I was like, this is not the show I saw in the trailer. It is way more playful and way more like just thinking of something, like I just think about the drug sequence
Oh
where
yeah.
she goes to, I was like, this is amazing. So how, like things like the drug sequence are obviously planned and shot, but what were some of the playful things that you sort of discovered in the cutting room?
Yeah, like I think especially for that dance sequence was really interesting. The stuff in the mirror when she's like tweaking out was all actually all in camera, and I kind of did like kind of like a stop motion effect, so like stealing different frames from she shot when she was in the mirror to kind of do like a glitchy effect, and that was super fun. Like that whole sequence is like much longer actually. It had like different dances, but what was really fun to play with is like we talked about, we collaborated together talking about how the Percocet could be like a time running out, like a VHS player.
Yes, I
And
love that.
so, yeah, so then we like really played into that with like the VFX. My assistant was so amazing in helping me like creating the style too. So it was really fun, like kind of collaborating on that.
I sort of got into VFX by accident. I always had a technical interest in photography, and especially as it relates to movie making. There's something magical about the ability to believe something is happening when it isn't. So I went as a live action producer into a company called Bob Abel and Associates. Then I would have to, have a meeting about how do we do this effect that's in this commercial, and I never got the straight answer I was looking for. I have camera knowledge, so it's like, since it's kind of ambiguous, why don't I just grab a camera and we'll try it out. You have to figure out what tells the story and use every trick in the book to solve your problem. I am Rob Legato, and this is my course on visual effects.
Now, in the series, was there a particular sort of moment or scene or sort of fun, tricky idea that really stood out for you that was a lot of fun to sort of experiment and figure out the look?
I think for sure the finale for Feeling Good. I was funny inspired by Wizard of Oz. I was kind of just thinking of like how we can, present Mel's, arc in the whole season. They already had the idea in the script to shoot every moment every time, like so every moment in the scene they would just like break and have her sing Feeling Good. And so it's supposed to like show all of her low moments in the season and kind of be celebrated in the end. And I thought of a visual way to do that was, go from like black and white to color, and like the old to the new. And so I kind of like came up like worked through all the footage and like kind of was like, okay, that'd be cool if we started like 4x3, like it's film. And then we're like going into her new life and kind of just like visually having that as well. And that kind of like was a theme throughout the whole episode because we're, you know, in the beginning, like everyone, all the interviewers are like in black and white, which was another like idea we all kind of like riffed off together, was just like, you know what, we need to see all those people from the beginning in the finale. And so we decided like to do like kind of photos of them, and then Mel's in color at the end. And then what was really fun was then we decided at the end when she, spoiler alert, gets arrested, she turns back to black and white. So it's like, you know, just emulating that feeling of highs and lows, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I really liked about the show, is there is those highs and lows. Like every time she gets up, it like brings her back down. Like, and that's there's this sort of like I was gonna ask you about that comedy. It's like finding that balance between the highs and lows, and you know, keeping us, because there are some serious moments, so like keeping us still ready to laugh or still able to laugh after some serious moments.
Yeah, like I think it's a really fine line between that, you know, because you know, it comedy is truth in a sense. So I think it was just being authentic to what the actors were bringing to that scene, and knowing when this was the dramatic beats and when this is the comedic beats, to just really like be authentic and grounded in those moments. Because dramedies are hard. It's a very fine line between like, you know, and I think things kind of teeter either one way or the other. But yeah, it's that's, I think that's the only way you can do, is just to be true to what
Mhm.
is being presented to you, you know?
What, because you, and maybe it's because you guys sang together in your interview, but I'm wondering, getting on the same page timing wise and sort of in that sort of sense of humor, because I find that that is one of the tricky things when editing, is getting in the mind of the creator, but also in the like the sense of their timing and what they like. So how did, especially with humor, how did you figure that out or work with her to find it?
Yeah, like I mean, I think her and I have a very similar sense of humor. And it's really just trusting my gut, because like that's literally all I have. It's just like, I don't know why, but like it has to cut here. We have to go to this joke, we have to do that. And it's really, you know, also like getting to know her in the edit suite too, and you know, like her timing, and getting to know her by looking at her footage and the show, which is like great when your showrunners like in the show, so you can like really, they're performing exactly what they want to get out. So it's just like, I think that was what was the greatest thing about the collaboration, is that we have the kind of same intuition.
And just to make sure, you were involved with the prescription hunt or the drugs hunt episode.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to.
So what was some of the challenges to cutting that? Like what, because that was one of my favorite sort of sequences, is them, I don't even know, it's, I want to say it's referencing something, but it's like, we got to go to this, like, no, we're not there, we got to go to the next one. But it's such an interesting sort of structure that the episode takes, and sort of a
Mhm.
fun journey that we go on.
Yeah, it's like interesting because I feel like it was kind of like a special episode, but very early. Um, and like I think the challenges was, you know, to keep it engaging and also like kind of like a heist like journey. Um, but I was able to overcome that. Like we actually did a lot of like jokes in the ADR that we added to it to with the team. And that was really great to like just elevate it. Um, and all of like the improvisations in that show, like I just like put it in, like the actors were really riffing and they really just brought like the script to life in that sense. You know, like when I say investment, you say ham, like all that stuff was like
Yeah.
improv. And I was like, I'm just like dying. Like actually the challenge was which one to pick, you know, like there was just so much like fun in that episode.
Well,
So
and the deadpanness of the Birdman, and it's like, don't call me the Birdman, and or
yeah.
whatever.
I
Um,
know, so funny.
Probably one of the smartest things I've ever done for my career. It gave me all the tools that I needed to be able to jump into a new career. Getting myself into a mindset, thinking like an editor, and being around people that I can talk to on that level was really invaluable to me.
A lot of the things that I learned from that class, I still think about.
I loved the classroom. I loved the computer stations. We built a sense of community.
And it also instills a lot of confidence in you to take that and go out into the world.
After I took the class, I felt very prepared to take the next step.
I owe Manhattan Workshop the career that I have right now. Things have been going great, and I really have the Manhattan Workshop to thank for that.
One of the things, because Mel is trying to, essentially is still in love with her ex.
Mhm.
Her ex is engaged and getting married. And so I don't want to call her a homewrecker, but she's like on this journey of like trying to sort of entice him back. So how did you guys find a balance so that we're not against her? Because that was one of the things that was interesting, was that we still like her and still go for the laughs and still enjoy being with her. So how did you
Yeah.
find that balance?
I think it's just understanding, because she's flawed, and we're all, she's only human, and I think many people can relate with that, and like unrequited love, in a sense. I think it's throughout the episodes, the storyline. I think in season or episode 3, you can just see like, she's having trouble. It's the whole thing about you can't love anyone until you love yourself.
Mhm.
And I think that was like kind of the theme of this film, or sorry, of this TV show, was that like kind of going on that theme to help you understand, and I think what's so interesting is that, she doesn't end up with him. She like loves herself and is happy with herself in the end, and that's, I think, the emotional or character arc that I think makes you not like hate her and make her a home record, because, and it's hard at the dying point when, things could have changed and he maybe would have considered being with her. She couldn't even say the words. She couldn't tell him she loved him. And it's like, you can feel that struggle, and that she needs to grow and love herself and feel like she deserves to be loved.
The other thing that's really interesting in this is Mel and Rory's relationship. And there's because you're working with a co-editor, because you didn't cut all the episodes. So I'm wondering, like, because there is that sort of build-up and seeding of their relationship starting to fall apart towards the middle of the season. So I'm wondering what that working relationship with the co-editor was to try and get things to balance and work out, so that it pays off when we get to the scene where they sort of break up as friends.
Yeah, like, I mean, each editor had their own individual episodes. It's really funny because I ended up cutting the beginning and their the beginning of their fight to like how they resolved it.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of a gap. So it's really just, talking and looking at the other episodes and seeing how the arc is. Rory kind of like suddenly disappears a little bit in the middle of the season because I guess they're not talking. But yeah, I think that's the way we kind of collaborate, is just communicating and looking at each other's episodes to just make sure that we have the same through line throughout the season.
Now, what's interesting is your career, you've cut, a whole range of genres. Is there a genre you haven't cut that you really want to have a shot at?
A musical.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, there's musical action. I think I've done a little bit of an action short film, but like I would love to do more of that. I think it's such a fun way of like different timing for editing is an action, and then also musicals and everything. But I just seriously just want to continue, telling really great human stories that really like relate to everybody. That's the genre of human.
You've made the journey to LA from Toronto. There's a lot of, young people who want to make that journey from wherever in the world to LA. What advice would you give them?
I mean, I think what was really helpful was being here. Like, you know, we can, as a Canadian, you can be here for 6 months. So I started visiting here a lot, and just coming here as many times as I can, just to see, even just for me to know if this could be a place I could be at. And in that, I started like meeting people and like coming to events. And so I think like the way to be here is just to be here and, you know, kind of feel it out and see if this is the place for you. And, you know, whatever is meant for you is meant for you.
Now, my last question for you is, what would you say is your favorite guilty pleasure film or TV show to watch?
Ooh, that is, I do love Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah.
I do. I don't know. It's something about the family dynamic. I don't know why. I just love watching them. And also I love Love Island and
Oh,
like
yeah.
all that stuff is so great.
The British one or the American one?
I love the British one.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
haven't met
funny.
many people who are like, yeah, the American one's the one I watch. It's always
Yeah,
the British.
it's well because I want to be British, so I'm like practicing my dialect actually.
Well, and I can't remember
But
when they removed him, but that Scottish guy who did the voiceover stuff,
oh yeah,
he's so good.
he's so good.
Yeah. He made the show, like in my opinion, because like at first I'm like, I don't want to watch this. And then he
Yeah,
comes in and you're like, oh, okay. I
it's
don't
all
know
about the
what you're here for,
narrator.
but I enjoy it.
And I love the narrators in all those reality TV shows like Hot
Yeah.
or Not or like all that good stuff.
House of Villains has a good one right now.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for letting me interview.
of course. Thank you for having me today. Have a good
And
day.
and that's it for this week, everyone. Make sure to check us out at filmmakeru.com or, of course, on Instagram at filmmaker_you. I'm Gordon Burkell. Thanks for watching.